High in the mist-covered highlands of Sulawesi, there is a place where death is not an ending, but a presence that never truly leaves. Here, in the remote world of the Torajan people, the boundary between the living and the dead dissolves like morning fog, slipping through the mountains. You can hear it in the silence of the valleys, in the echo of bamboo forests, in the slow footsteps of buffalo, walking ancient paths carved by centuries of belief. In this land, the departed do not vanish. They stay inside the home, dressed carefully, spoken to softly, treated with tenderness as if they were merely ill, waiting to recover. Outsiders call it strange, some call it disturbing, but for the Torajans it is love, an unbroken thread tying every living soul to generations that came before. And once you arrive here, this mystery pulls you in, refusing to let go. The Manin Ritual. Cleaning the Corpses Ceremony. Deep within the Torajan highlands lies a ritual so astonishing, so visually surreal that many travelers believe it cannot be real until they stand before it. This is Manin, the ceremony where the dead return to the world of the living, not as ghosts or legends, but as honored family members lifted gently from their graves. Every few years, when the dry season settles over the mountains, Torajan families gather at ancestral burial cliffs carved into rock walls. They open wooden coffins weathered by rain and mist and bring out the preserved bodies of their loved ones. Carefully, almost tenderly, they brush away dust, adjust fragile limbs, and comb hair that has not moved in years. Fresh clothes are slipped onto the bodies, clean shirts, bright dresses, elegant fabrics prepared long in advance. Children watch without fear, whispering greetings to grandparents they never met. Adults wipe away quiet tears. To outsiders, the scene can feel unreal, a moment where time collapses, where life and death stand side by side. But for the Torajans, Manin is an act of profound respect. They believe the bond between family and ancestors never fades and must be renewed again and again. The ritual is not about death. It is about continuity, about acknowledging that those who came before still walk with them, guide them, and deserve to be remembered with dignity. And as the bodies are dressed and honored, the village comes alive with stories, laughter, and music, turning what others see as morbid into a celebration of belonging. The Torajan concept of death, a transition, not an ending. For the Torajan people, death is not an abrupt event, but a passage, a slow and sacred transition that unfolds over weeks, months, or even years. When a person takes their final breath, the family does not immediately consider them dead. Instead, they become tamakala, the sick. Their spirit is believed to linger near the home, still needing care, companionship, and the familiar warmth of family life. The body remains inside the ancestral house, dressed, cleaned, and placed in a special room. Relatives speak to them softly, bring them food each day, and include them in household routines. A cup of coffee is placed beside them in the morning. A bowl of rice appears during dinners. It is not symbolic. It is a real act of continuity. In this worldview, the soul must prepare for a long journey toward Puya, the land of spirits, and this transition cannot be rushed. To hurry death is seen as disrespectful, like pushing a loved one out the door before they are ready. Only when the family gathers enough resources to hold a grand funeral ceremony does the person officially become dead. Until that moment, they are present, part of the household rhythm, part of conversations, part of daily memory. It is a belief system that challenges modern ideas about mortality, but in Toraja, it creates a remarkable coexistence between the living and those who have departed. Here, death is softened, transformed into companionship, becoming an extension of love rather than loss. The grand funeral ceremonies, a festival of life and death. When the time finally arrives and the family is ready, the Torajan funeral bursts into life with a scale and intensity that feels almost mythical. Known as Rambu Solo, it is one of the most elaborate funeral traditions anywhere in the world. Families spend years preparing for it, gathering resources, saving money, and coordinating the participation of every clan member. When the ceremony begins, the quiet mountain villages transform into vibrant arenas filled with drums, chanting, and crowds dressed in traditional red and black garments. Relatives travel from distant islands to honor the deceased, bringing gifts of livestock, symbolic offerings, and support for the family. The central moment of the funeral is the sacrifice of water buffalo, animals believed to guide the spirit to the afterlife. The more buffalo offered, the smoother and faster the soul's journey to Puya. It is not a violent spectacle to them, but a sacred exchange between the physical world and the spiritual one. Between rituals, people gather in tall bamboo pavilions, sharing meals, telling stories, singing ancestral songs, and celebrating the life of the departed. The sadness of loss blends with the joy of reunion, creating an atmosphere that outsiders often describe as both overwhelming and strangely beautiful. To the Torajans, a funeral is not simply a goodbye. It is the ultimate declaration of respect, a final act of devotion that ensures the soul leaves this world honored, remembered, and surrounded by the love of an entire community. Social hierarchy and family life. A society built on lineage. Torajan society is woven together by a deep sense of lineage, honor, and responsibility, forming a social structure that has shaped their traditions for centuries. At its core are three traditional classes: nobles, commoners, and former dependents, each carrying specific roles in rituals, community decisions, and family obligations. This hierarchy is not simply about status. It determines the scale of funerals, the number of buffalo that must be sacrificed, and even the way people participate in ceremonies. A noble family, for example, is expected to host larger funerals and contribute significantly to communal events, reinforcing their ancestral prestige. Family life revolves around the Tonkanen, the ancestral house that symbolizes unity and identity. Dozens of relatives, sometimes spread across different regions, remain tightly connected through clan responsibilities and shared heritage. Marriage, too, reflects this system. Unions must harmonize family lines, and marrying within one's class is traditionally encouraged to preserve balance. From childhood, Torajan people learn the importance of contributing to future funerals, often saving money or raising buffalo as a lifelong responsibility. These obligations may seem heavy, yet they are seen as acts of loyalty, ways to honor ancestors, strengthen kinship, and ensure every member of the clan receives dignity in life and death. In this tightly knit social world, family is not just blood, it is a network of shared duty, memory, and respect that binds the community together across generations. Tonkanen houses, architecture of souls. Standing proudly across the Torajan highlands are the remarkable Tonkanen houses, structures so distinctive and symbolic that they seem to rise from myth rather than earth. With their sweeping boat-shaped roofs curving upward like the horns of celestial creatures, these ancestral homes are far more than places to live. They are sacred vessels that carry the identity, memory, and spiritual essence of every family. Built on wooden stilts and adorned with intricate carvings painted in deep reds, blacks, and yellows, each marking tells a story. Buffalo power, ancestral lineage, cosmic harmony. A tongue of wood carved into a sunburst symbolizes life's energy, while geometric patterns represent protection from wandering spirits. Constructing a Tonkanen is an enormous communal effort. Relatives gather from across the region, offering labor, materials, and blessings. Its orientation must follow spiritual rules, facing north, the direction of the ancestors' teen house, to maintain balance with the unseen world. Inside, the space is divided into sacred sections, the northern area for ceremonial purposes, the southern for daily living, and the center as the heart where family decisions are made. A Tonkanen is never owned by an individual. It belongs to the entire clan, linking past and present, binding generations through shared heritage. Even when family members migrate for work, they return for rituals, repairs, and gatherings because the Tonkanen is not just a house, it is the soul of the family. A living monument that anchors identity in a rapidly changing world. Location and geography. A kingdom above the clouds. Tucked deep within the soaring mountains of South Sulawesi lies Tana Toraja, a land that feels suspended between earth and sky. The journey to reach it winds through steep valleys, narrow cliffside roads, and endless curves carved into the green spine of the island. As you ascend higher, mist begins to wrap around the slopes like a veil, revealing rice terraces that shimmer in the morning light and villages perched delicately on ridges that seem too fragile to hold them. This isolation has shaped the Torajan world for centuries. The mountains acted as natural guardians, slowing the arrival of outside influence and protecting traditions that might have vanished elsewhere. Dense bamboo forests whisper with wind, while deep rivers cut through the valley floors, providing life but also creating natural barriers between communities. During the rainy season, heavy clouds roll across the highlands, turning the landscape into a dreamlike sea of white, where only the peaks of the hills rise like islands. In the dry months, the land reveals its rugged beauty, cracked red earth paths, golden rice fields ready for harvest, and buffalo grazing lazily under warm sunlight. Every element of this geography reinforces the Torajan connection to their ancestors. The cliffs became burial sites, the caves became spirit resting places, and the mountains provided the feeling that the living and the dead were never far from one another. Tana Toraja is not just a location. It is the stage upon which one of the world's most extraordinary cultures continues to thrive. History of the Torajan people, the ancestors who never departed. The history of the Torajan people stretches far beyond the mountains they inhabit today, reaching back to ancient Austronesian migrations that spread across the islands of Southeast Asia and the Pacific. Centuries ago, their ancestors settled in the highlands of Sulawesi, choosing an isolated landscape where their beliefs could take deep root. For generations, the Torajans lived in small, self-sufficient communities, guided by Aluk the way of the ancestors, a spiritual system that dictated everything from agriculture to social order. These rituals and cosmologies shaped their understanding of life and death, time and memory. When Dutch colonizers arrived in the late 19th century, they encountered a society that seemed frozen in an ancient rhythm, a world where funerals lasted for days and ancestors remained central to daily existence. The Dutch influence introduced Christianity and new forms of governance, yet even then, Toraja resisted complete cultural transformation. Instead, beliefs blended. Churches rose beside ancestral houses, and hymns echoed alongside traditional chants. Roads eventually connected the region to the outside world, but modernization came slowly, leaving space for tradition to remain intact. As Indonesia formed its national identity in the 20th century, Toraja stood out as a unique cultural stronghold, preserving rituals that continued to amaze anthropologists and travelers alike. Today, their history lives in every tongkonan, every carved cliff burial, every ritual that honors the dead, proving that for the Torajans, the past is not something lost. It is something carried, nurtured, and kept alive through each generation. Food, daily life, and traditions. Between mountains and spirits. Daily life in Tana Toraja unfolds in a rhythm shaped by mountains, family ties, and spiritual customs that linger in every corner of the highlands. At sunrise, the air carries the scent of wood smoke as families prepare meals using bamboo tubes filled with rice, herbs, and sometimes pieces of pork or chicken, slowly cooked over open fires. Markets come alive with the chatter of traders selling fresh vegetables, wild honey, coffee cultivated on cool mountain slopes, and traditional fabrics dyed in deep natural colors. Work revolves around rice terraces carved into steep hillsides where families labor together, singing in unison as they plant and harvest. Despite the isolation, the Torajans embrace moments of celebration. Music, dances, and storytelling gatherings often continue late into the night, accompanied by the gentle beat of traditional drums. A unique blend of Christianity and ancestral belief shapes their worldview, visible in Sunday church services that seamlessly coexist with rituals honoring the spirits of the dead. Children grow up within close-knit clans, spending afternoons playing among buffalo herds or practicing traditional chants. Evenings are quieter, filled with the sound of insects, the smell of burning candles, and conversations that weave together daily happenings with stories of ancestors. Daily life may appear simple, but beneath this simplicity lies a culture rich with symbolism, respect, and a profound awareness of the unseen forces that guide their world. In Toraja, every meal, every dance, and every small routine is a reminder that life and spirit are always intertwined. Modern contradictions. Tradition under pressure. Despite its timeless appearance, Tana Toraja is living through a quiet struggle between ancient obligation and modern reality. As Indonesia grows rapidly, many young Torajans leave the highlands to study or work in big cities, returning home only for major ceremonies. Yet, even far away, they carry a deep sense of duty, saving money for funerals that often cost more than houses, cars, or years of income. The economic weight of tradition has become one of the greatest challenges. Families sometimes spend decades raising buffalo, saving funds, and gathering contributions from relatives scattered across the country. Tourism adds another layer of complexity. Thousands of visitors arrive each year, drawn by the extraordinary rituals, cliff burials, and iconic tongkonan. The attention brings income, but also raises questions. How do you preserve sacred ceremonies when they become attractions? How do you balance authenticity with the pressure of cameras and outsiders who may not understand the spiritual depth behind each act? Some Torajans worry that the rituals could slowly transform into performances, losing their original purpose. Others believe tourism helps keep the culture alive in a fast-changing world. Meanwhile, new roads, cell phones, and modern conveniences creep into villages, reshaping lifestyles without erasing identity. Toraja today stands at a crossroads, holding tightly to ancestral values while adapting to a future that grows closer with every passing year. It is a delicate dance between honoring the past and surviving the demands of the present. As the sun dips behind the jagged silhouettes of Sulawesi's mountains, Tana Toraja transforms into a landscape suspended between light and shadow, a place where the past feels close enough to touch. Evening mist curls along the rice terraces, drifting toward the ancestral houses whose curved roofs glow softly under fading daylight. In this quiet hour, you begin to understand the essence of Toraja, a culture where memory is stronger than time and where the living walk side by side with those who came before. The whisper of the wind through bamboo groves carries echoes of ancient chants, while the distant bells of buffalo remind you that every creature, every stone, every breath here is tied to a larger story. The rituals may be extraordinary, even shocking to outsiders, but to the Torajans they are acts of devotion that bind generations into an unbroken chain. In a world that moves quickly, forgetting its past in the rush for progress, Toraja remains a rare sanctuary where history is not something left behind, but something held close, protected, and lived every day. Standing on a hill as the sky fades into deep purple, you feel the weight of centuries woven into the air. You realize that once you know this place, you never forget it. What do you think about a culture where the dead never truly leave? If you enjoyed this journey, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell, and share this video with someone who loves history and curious places.